Hello everyone, my name is Mythilos. As you can see, I'm a small Android who will guide you through this tutorial. Today we're going to install ComfyUI, but first, what is ComfyUI? ComfyUI is a Python-based program used to create and control AI image generation workflows through nodes in a visual and modular way. It's the core program we'll use to create content, and you need to have it installed locally if you want to take full advantage of it. Here you can run all kinds of diffusion and image generation models locally and for free, such as Flux, Qwen, Wan, or Z-Image, since most of these models are open source. This allows you to work with artificial intelligence without paying the high prices charged by Google, OpenAI, and other platforms. But before we begin, let's go over the system requirements. All right, to work with this program, you'll need a computer with fairly high specifications. Let's take a look. As we can see here, on the official GitHub page, the best option is an NVIDIA graphics card. This is the most important component for ComfyUI, and even though it says that any GPU will work, not all of them will be equally fast or efficient. My recommendation, if you want to use all the new models coming out since they offer the best quality, is to have at least a 4070 or better. In my case, I have an RTX 4070 with 12 gigabytes, and sometimes I feel like I need more power for models like Qwen or Flux. As for RAM and CPU, even though they're not explicitly mentioned here, they're still important, especially the RAM, which acts as a bridge between the processor and the GPU. So I recommend at least 32 gigabytes. I use DDR4 because it's cheaper, but DDR5 will perform better. And lastly, you should have plenty of SSD storage. And I do mean SSD. Don't even try doing this on a traditional HDD because it will make model loading extremely slow. I recommend at least 1 to 2 terabytes to ensure you have enough room for your models. Now, after hearing all this, you might be a bit scared since these requirements are high even for gamers. Unfortunately, that's the reality. Even if you don't have the specs I mentioned, you can still use ComfyUI and get results, but don't expect the highest quality. I'll try to offer workflows on this channel aimed at people with low VRAM, so if you just want to experiment a bit, you won't have any problems. However, if you want the maximum quality, even I can't achieve that with my RTX 4070, there's another great option: renting graphics cards. And that's where this platform called RunPod comes in. Here you can rent GPUs like the 5090 for around $0.69 per hour without using any electricity from your home. That's not a bad price, especially considering how RAM prices have gone up in recent weeks. I won't go into too much detail about RunPod, but you'll see me using it in my projects. The important thing is that even if you don't have a powerful machine, you can still achieve maximum quality this way. If you're going to work with RunPod, keep in mind that ComfyUI already comes pre-installed on these services, so you won't need this tutorial. And if you don't want to follow all the steps in this tutorial and prefer to install everything with a single click, I recommend purchasing the installation package linked in the description. This file will automatically install the entire program without needing to follow the manual steps, which can save you some time. Now let's move on to the manual installation. All right, we're going to start a somewhat customized installation of ComfyUI. For us as artists, the most important things are a few key features. First, the version needs to be portable. This gives us better performance, greater flexibility, and full control over Python and CUDA dependencies. This is very important because ComfyUI isn't a particularly stable program. It's constantly being updated, and many times we'll want to use older versions instead of the latest ones, since new updates often introduce incompatibilities. This setup will help most people who have a standard machine or low VRAM. Second, it should run in an isolated Python environment, also known as a virtual environment or VenV. This allows us to install and use other Python-based programs alongside ComfyUI without compatibility issues. Tools like CoyaSS or FluxGym can be very useful, and this setup prevents conflicts between them. Third, we'll install the most stable and reliable Python version. By choosing a specific version, Python 3.10 in this case, we avoid many of the errors introduced in later releases. Now, if you download the portable version from the official website, ComfyUI will be installed, but not with these specific configurations. That's why, in this tutorial, I'll show you how to do everything manually, step by step. We'll start by installing Python. As you can see on the official Python website, you can find version 3.10, which is the one we'll install on our PC. It's important to check the box labeled Add to Path. Next, we'll install Git. Git is a platform for developers, and we'll use it to download all the ComfyUI files. Because of that, it's important to install Git and create an account. Finally, we'll update our graphics card drivers. In my case, I'm using an RTX 4070 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. This tutorial is specifically for NVIDIA graphics cards since they support CUDA. Alright, from this point on, if you want to skip the rest of the tutorial, I recommend, just as I mentioned earlier, downloading the automatic installer. It will do exactly what we're about to see next, but in a fully automated way. It's important to specify the directory where ComfyUI will be installed. By default, it will use the most common path, the one you see here on my screen, but you can change it if you want, and then save your selection. All right, now let's move on to the manual installation. ComfyUI gives us two options: installing it as a desktop application, like any standard program as we saw before, or installing it as a portable or manual setup. I'll choose the same directory I use in the automatic installer on my M.2 SSD, since it's the fastest drive I have and it has 2 terabytes of space. However, you can install it wherever you want. Just keep in mind that this folder will eventually contain a very large amount of data, as we'll be downloading many files to work with ComfyUI over time. This is not a traditional program like Photoshop, where it usually takes up around 20 gigabytes at most. Depending on how you use it and how many models you work with, ComfyUI can easily take up 500 gigabytes of storage or more. As we mentioned earlier, we're going to install it in a portable or manual way because it offers better performance, greater flexibility, full control over Python, included dependencies, easier node installation, and better tools for debugging issues. A file in 7-zip format will be downloaded. Next, you should install 7-zip if you don't already have it installed on your PC. Once that's done, extract the 7-zip file. Just to clarify, I'm recording this in November 2025, and the installation process may change significantly with future updates. However, ComfyUI usually updates within the same directories that I'm showing you in this tutorial, which I'll also leave linked in the video description. At the moment, this file has one issue. It does not include the full Git repository, which we need in order to install the ComfyUI Manager. To fix this, you'll need to delete the ComfyUI folder inside ComfyUI_Windows_portable. Once it's deleted, open the command prompt inside that directory and paste the link you see on screen, which will also be available in the video description. If you haven't installed Git, as we did in step 3, this will not work. After doing this, you'll have the complete Git repository properly set up. All right, now we're going to set up ComfyUI inside a virtual environment. It's always recommended to create a virtual environment. A virtual environment is like an isolated Python bubble where you can install libraries without affecting the rest of your system. If we don't do this, other programs can cause conflicts. In my case, tools like Koya SS or XTTS may fail to run, or they could even affect how ComfyUI works. As you can see, an executable file called run_nvidiagpu.bat has been created. This is the file we're interested in, but if we run it as is, ComfyUI will install without using a virtual environment. So how do we fix that? We'll create the virtual environment inside the ComfyUI folder. The folder will be called venv. To do this, we'll open the command prompt inside that directory and paste the command you see on screen, which will also be included in the description. This should create the venv folder, and with it, the virtual environment. Once it's created, we'll make our own executable. We'll duplicate run.nvidiagpu.bat and rename it to run.comfyui.bat. Then we'll open it with Notepad and add a line with the command you see on screen. This way, both the installation and the program will run from the virtual environment, and every time we open ComfyUI, it will always use its own isolated Python environment. This is extremely helpful if you also use other specialized tools for LoRa creation, such as ComfyUI or FluxGem. Finally, I recommend sending this .bat file to your desktop as a shortcut for convenience. But for now, we're not going to run it just yet. Now we're going to install the requirements and dependencies inside the virtual environment. First, open the command prompt in the ComfyUI folder, and then activate the virtual environment using the activate command. Then, access the ComfyUI folder with this command. Once the environment is active, install the requirements by running pip install r-requirements.txt. This will install a version of PyTorch that is probably not compatible with your CUDA version. When it finishes, uninstall it by running pip uninstall torch vision torch audio -y next. We need to install the correct version for your CUDA setup. To check which CUDA version you have, run NVIDIA SMI. In my case, it shows CUDA 13.1, so I install PyTorch with pip install torch vision torch audio, index URL https download.pytorch.org wwrtl CU131. Keep in mind that every time you update your GPU drivers, your CUDA version may change. When that happens, ComfyUI will stop working until PyTorch is reinstalled. So make sure to remember this step. The next time you update your drivers, check your new CUDA version, uninstall PyTorch, and reinstall it using the correct version, just like we did here. We're almost done. Now we're going to download ComfyUI Manager. To do this, open the command prompt in the ComfyUI folder, then activate the virtual environment using Activate. After that, navigate to the Custom Nodes folder by running cd custom nodes. Then paste the following command. Perfect. We now have ComfyUI installed. Finally, we'll launch ComfyUI using our shortcut. The first time it runs, it may take a little longer, but after that, the loading time will be similar to any other moderately demanding application. As you can see, this is ComfyUI. Today, we won't be talking about the interface or how it works, since this is an installation tutorial. In future projects, I'll explain some important aspects you need to know to properly use this amazing program. We'll click this button, and that's it. ComfyUI is now set up in a portable way and running inside an isolated environment. If this tutorial was helpful, please leave a like. It helps me a lot. Thanks for watching the video.